Hey, Tyler.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad.
How's your day going?
Pretty good. Had a job taking up most of the morning, but
Uh-huh.
not too bad.
You said your job has taken up most of the morning?
Yeah, just this. I guess it's one job that I've been working on.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Um, did you get my most recent chat on Teams?
Oh, yeah, about Wednesday. Sorry, I didn't answer you.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
I was gonna look at something and then I got distracted. Hold on. Wednesday. Oh, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I actually have the morning free tomorrow, um, up until 12. So
Okay. Would you want to do like 8 again, or
sure.
okay, sweet. Put it in my calendar.
Yeah, I will too. And it's not a Monday, so there's good odds of me making it on time.
Good. And are you back at school now? I guess full time or?
Yeah, kind of. I'm like easing my way into it because I have training for new faculty for the next 3 weeks, and that's
Gotcha.
mainly mornings.
Gotcha. So how long have you been at the school?
Since April.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I think Josh was planning on coming, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Let me just take this real quick.
Prank call?
I think so. It's just silent.
Oh,
Probably
darn
one of them robots figuring out when I'm gonna answer the phone. And
it. Yeah. I used to write code for those, and I never knew enough to know if the only thing I'm aware of that's the behavior you described, it actually is quite different than what people often say. Um, what often would happen is it's called a predictive dialer, which means it's kind of like how the airlines overbook their flights because they count on a certain percentage not showing up. And
gotcha.
then every once in a while, more people show up than they guessed would, and then they're short seats.
Mm-hmm.
So with auto dialer software, they have a certain number of people who are able and ready to take a call. And the dialer knows how many people are ready. And it does this dialing ahead, guessing that there's going to be someone available at a certain time to take the call. But there are times that it backfires. because it's either overly aggressively calling or an agent gets stuck on a call for too long, and so it messes with their predictive algorithm.
Hmm.
So it can end up you answering or someone answering, and there's actually not anyone available to take the call. I've seen that end up in people getting silence or hold music, which is kind of counterintuitive. If you get
Yeah,
called, why do you have hold music?
doesn't make sense. Yeah, I feel like the most recent ones that I've gotten have been just silent. And so I just assumed that it was like they just send out calls and then they can like sell the data like, hey, this person answers at this time. So like here's a spot I guess where you could call them, but I don't know.
Right. And I know my uncle always said that growing up too, that they're trying to test us to see when we'll answer. None of the ones I worked on had that feature, but I might have just not been on the same system. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I guess while I have you, I'm trying to remember what our stopping point I guess was last time
the
working on
last
that.
time was that it said it couldn't connect to localhost on port 8080.
Okay. Okay. And so that okay. And then we talked about the magical configuration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Did you, I guess, by chance find out more about how that works, or?
So what we could now, I haven't found out anything, but I've been thinking a lot about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I had a couple of thoughts. One is I was thinking about there's a cloud builder that says it takes precedence over kubectl, and I'm trying to find which one it is. I think it's the gcloud one, and they say that it can, but I just want to make sure I'm not just making it up. Some of our supported builder images. So there's a gcloud image. There's a GKE deploy image. If I go to the complete list, send that in the Zoom chat. I'm just wondering if there's a better one even that somehow works. I don't know how the kubectl one does it, but maybe looking at it would explain it better. So I'm looking at the Docker file right now. So it does copy kubectl bash. Run builder cloud. Google Cloud bin gcloud-q components install kubectl. Copy kubectl.bash to builder kubectl.bash. So that's how they build the Docker for this one. I'm just trying to get insight into how it gets access to the config folder.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a README. It may not support the most recent versions of kubectl. Okay, the Cloud SDK maintains a Cloud SDK image that supports multiple tagged versions of Cloud SDK across multiple platforms. Please visit that one for details. Please note that the kubectl entry point must be specified to use these images. Oh, interesting. So they say, so how does, so I know we set the variables. We set those two variables, region, zone, or cluster. Oh, you must set these environment variables on every step that uses the kubectl builder. This context is not persisted across steps. If your GKE cluster is in a different project than the build itself, also set the Cloud SDK core project. To use this builder on Google Cloud Build, your builder service account will need IAM permission sufficient for the operations you want to perform. To deploy container images on a GKE cluster, enable the Kubernetes engine developer role. That's the thing I was saying I had to do before. When using kubectl, setting the environment variables described above will cause the step's entry point to first run a command. To first run a command to fetch cluster credentials as follows. Aha! So we could run, can you run more than one command in a builder? Or only, I don't remember.
You're looking at that additional usage information.
Yeah, because it looks like that's how it gets the config. That right there is what it does. So it says setting the environment variables described above will cause the step's entry point to first run a command to fetch cluster credentials. But didn't we set those variables even on the one that's entry point was bash?
I think so. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, so I'm curious what that script looks like that they say that's getting copied. Oh, it's right there, kubectl.bash. Okay, so it's just that script that's in the GitHub repo that does it. If -n $region then. Oh, got it. So I get it. I get it. Aren't we running a script now as our, we're running a script too, right?
Yes, we were doing, yeah, this one.
So we could add that command from their script to our script as the first step.
So we want to run this, and then what did you just do, the ampersand?
Or you can do it the line above it.
Okay.
That's the easier way to read it. The ampersand is kind of a hack if you want it to be all on one line, quote unquote. But sometimes you have the real estate where you don't have to do that. G-Cloud containers. Now, there's more to their script. If you look at, I'm going to send this to you in the chat. So if you scroll up from there and then go to kubectl.bash.
Okay, gotcha.
And then they're actually setting on line 38 through 41 all of the variables in the script.
Okay.
And those variables then get picked up and used on the line 52 command.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, I guess there's different scopes to what it's running in. And so if we're running it in that script, it's trying to understand. It's like different layers of abstraction. That's probably not the right word, but like in the scope of which it's running, it doesn't have that access to that config file, right?
To which file again?
So the magical,
The config. Oh yeah.
yeah. Is
Config
that
file. What's happening is when we say kubectl is our entry point, which is the default, it runs that bash script you were just looking at. That's how it runs kubectl. Every single time that you run kubectl, it actually runs that bash script.
okay?
So inherently, if you're using the default entry point, you're going to have these config get credentials commands run every single time.
Okay. So we want to take so here we could just say project equals, and then we just put in like constellation, and then specific tags. It looks like is this here? They're just grabbing. I'm not sure where it would default to save, I guess, that information.
So there, see that colon dash?
Uh-huh.
So what that says is if the first term doesn't exist, that's the default. So it's going to first pull from the Cloud SDK variable in each case, and then if that doesn't exist, it's going to pull it from the gcloud config.
Okay.
Which that works for us verbatim. I think we can just copy all those lines. There's always there's always somewhere a logical explanation for why things happen. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
And empty lines aren't good on these scripts, right?
It's just interpreted as an enter on the command prompt, I think. I think that's how it is. So it's whatever would happen if you hit enter at the command line. That's what it does.
Okay.
I'm not a bash expert. I just know enough to get my way through things.
Yeah.
So there's cluster, region, zone, project, and then gcloud container get clusters, clusters get credentials, dash, dash, zone, cloud. Okay, so we want to use their gcloud command from the bash script you were just copying from.
What?
You see it? It's down around line 52.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But we don't want the exit, right?
What is the or exit? I'm trying to remember what does that do? Well, hold on. What is the double pipe symbol? Double pipe bash script. Okay. So yeah, it is an or. Oh, yeah, it's an or. So two pipes is an or in bash. So or exit? What does that mean? gcloud container cluster get credentials project zone cluster or exit. Okay. I don't know what that means. Oh, it's like if it has a false, like a exit exit code of 1 or something, then executes the exit, I guess. Oh, I get it. So it bails out of the script if that line fails. That's what it does.
Okay, so are they comparing it then? Is it saying if this is, I don't know, probably not.
Kind of. So if the first one returns, I honestly am kind of in the dark about what this is doing. You could do, it's like, if it fails, it's running exit. Now, why that's happening, I can't tell you the syntax enough to explain it. The way you would test it is just get to a bash prompt like Google Cloud Shell, and then you would just type stuff like this. So you type like 0 space or exit, enter, and see what it does. Yeah, you could open like a new tab or whatever, or use this one. What does that do?
It exits out. Can I see that?
Notice how it said command not found and then it exited?
So
Now, what if you were to type like echo hello or exit? I bet you it would echo hello.
let's put it in quotes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. See? So because hello was found and it could do that, it said, I'm going to do that. But
Oh, okay.
if hello wasn't found, then it would have done exit instead.
Oh, yeah. I keep jumping the gun.
You just want to be in the editor. You want it to read your mind, right?
Yes.
Just get me in the editor, please.
Okay, here we go. So we want this. Did we want to add the exit to it? Because I mean, like,
The thing is, the point is nothing else will work if that line doesn't work properly. So if that's like a fatal error,
okay, gotcha.
putting the exit there, I think.
Okay.
Just like we found, if the config isn't there, nothing else happens correctly.
So it'd be this line that we'd replace.
Yeah.
No, it's a one or the other, and actually one of them two isn't exact. It's just kind of an idea of what you're saying. You need to trace out pretty like three.
Or do we want to just run? Or is it just clear log? I can't. I'm trying to remember how we did it last time.
How to run it?
Yeah.
It's like gcloud builds.
Is it the build submit? Okay. So I forgot.
Dash config.
So would we do the shell or the?
We would say the clear-log.yaml.
Okay.
Because it points to the shell script.
Well, actually, that's a lie. It's a 1.5 on the laminate. The vinyl.
How's your baby doing?
1.5.
Doing good. My wife came to work, or I guess came and had lunch, and it was really nice.
Cool.
But he's getting chubby and hard to hold. Okay. So this is a good error.
Oh, yeah.
that means it.
Eat.
How about that?
That's good progress, man.
It goes up about $40
Okay, I'm just trying to remember. Okay, that's how we did it. Okay. So we're going to, does the clear log actually clear the log, or does the clear log, is that the one that recreates the directory?
That's the one that creates it right now. We should probably rename it.
Is it, would you do to rename, would it be like that?
Yep. Except, yeah.
That,
I would rename the script also.
oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. The clear log is the whole thing. That's what we were doing. Okay. So if you change the name, does that change the, how do you say it, the chmod command?
Oh, no, it should
Chmod?
stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that should still be 700. If you do ls-la, you should see that it's the same.
And I'm trying to remember, I read it probably a couple times, but so there's the 3 numbers, and like it all adds up to, if you have like read, write, the different permissions you have.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember what the different positions.
I'm really bad at this too. It's like 3 is read, 7 is read, write, execute.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
3 is write and execute. 4 is read only. Read and write is 6.
User group. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm bad at that.
I am good at Googling, so that saves my bacon.
So notice
Okay.
though, 700 instead of 777. Do you know the difference?
So it's only for this user?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's 0 for the other two, for members of the group and whatever the other one is.
Okay, so we should be able to. I guess we're gonna want. Watch me struggle with Vim today.
You're doing good. I don't know how to do that.
Want that. That. I want this one to be. Okay, yeah, I guess this is something that I can do later. If this is all working, so I can take this, and the best way, I guess, to get that to the repo, which ties in with the triggers, would be. I mean, I could just open it up in the editor and copy and paste that into what I have on my machine and just make a pull request off of that. But I imagine there's
That works.
a better practice.
I've done that, and the other option is you can do a git push to a branch from the command line. Those, either one.
Okay.
There's
But
no better way.
would I have to sign in on Git? Because before I wasn't part of the organization, so I was tied in with like my GitHub username or the config. Would I have to config the command line here? Okay.
You probably would have to.
Okay. Great. So I know I've asked a couple questions that I probably have my fault asking other questions I haven't got to. I'm trying to remember. I think one was trying to understand the, I guess like the workflow constellation, like how it goes, how that all kind of like ties together.
Yeah, so we have daily stand-ups when school is in session that are supposed to last 15 minutes. They usually end up about an hour for the first month. And then, because everyone's still getting oriented. And then it gets closer to a half hour, and some good days it's only 15 minutes. And we have those usually first thing in the morning, like 8:30 or something. And then, so we run Agile as closely as we can. Last semester, Ryan was the Scrum Master. So he ran the daily stand-ups and the Scrum board and all of that. 2-week sprints are what we do. So there's a sprint review at the end of the 2 weeks. We do sprint planning at the end of the 2 weeks for the coming sprint. So what things we want to work on. There are usually 2 dedicated interns. So one is more back-end focused and one is more front-end focused. Although there is overlap. Ryan was supposed to be the back-end one, and he did quite a bit of front-end work. And Wakolo was the front end, but he did dabble in database and back-end stuff. Towards the end, he focused pretty exclusively on front end. He decided he wasn't as interested in the back end, but it wasn't because of anyone's direction. It was just his own choice.
Gotcha.
What other questions do you have?
So that, and then I guess also from like the Google Cloud, I guess how that all kind of works. So someone front end or back end working on the local SQL server or somewhere, how when that gets pushed, what triggers, I guess.
Okay.
How it pushes from like prod to stage or whichever one it is, and then how that goes live.
Oh yeah. Now I remember. I remember you asking about this in an email or something, or a meeting, and we never got to it. So if you pull up GitHub and go to the Constellation project, the top one. And then if you go to Cloud Build Dev, yeah. So this is the one that gets triggered on a merge to master. So if you look at it, you can see the steps involved. The first one builds a Docker image and pushes it to GCR. I can't remember how much of this you've seen before. I forget which projects you've worked on so far.
Not too many. I think mostly it's just been working on these triggers and.
Okay. So this Docker image build and push is something new to you then, possibly?
Is this considered a manifest? Is that what?
So this is just like the one you were just working on, just like or clearlogs.yaml. This is just a build pipeline is what it is.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So I mean, kind of familiar. So you've got different steps. And so I guess what is the difference between YAML and like JSON? Like, are those related, or is it just different entirely?
It's just a different format for data.
Okay.
You can actually do cloud build, whatever pipelines. You can write them in JSON too. We just haven't used that.
Gotcha. Is it, I guess, more recommended, or does Google kind of default to YAML?
I don't
Doesn't
know
matter.
if there is a default.
Okay. That's cool. Okay.
So right now, you'll notice that the last or the second to last step that was commented was to call the stage build or the stage deployment.
Okay.
At the beginning, we used to have it all go from dev to stage to production. And so if there was a bug, it would be in production within 15 minutes. And so we decided that we would break that for a while. So we commented this out. And we added an automated test on line 42. That test is supposed to check if the dev instance is working correctly.
Okay.
And if that passes, the intent is that we'll uncomment the next step. So if the tests pass, deploy. If the tests fail, it doesn't.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's what CI/CD is all about. I mean, the mature model is you always have an integrated test and it doesn't get deployed unless it passes. And you add more
Gotcha.
and more tests until it's pretty darn good. We had like, I don't know how many automated integration tests on my last team I was on. Some of our projects had probably up to 50 automated integration tests.
Wow. So I mean, if I were to be able to do the internship, I guess, would I be able to do more of this, or would that be considered outside the scope of a web developer?
No, you could do as much of it as you wanted to.
Okay.
There's very little imposed structure on the
Okay.
contribution project.
Okay. Cool. Well, so far I think it's really cool.
Good.
So I guess if we want today, I guess we were going to talk about the test. So we never got past the jest, pulling that that the IT part of that method or function was undefined.
Oh, really?
So we couldn't figure out what was causing it.
Hmm.
I think we had good intentions of looking at it, but
Okay.
I could just open it in code. That might be faster.
Either way.
See if I can pull it up before.
But yeah, that's, I learned, as soon as you put it in, we're gonna write that thing, and then when I get it, one of the, that's what we want.
So do you like to edit more in like an IDE like that, or like a text editor more like VS Code, or do you prefer to just be writing the console all the time? Or does it depend on?
VS Code is my preference. It's
Okay.
an editor, basically a glorified editor,
Mm-hmm.
which is good enough for me. Unless I'm
Okay.
doing Java or .NET. If I'm doing either of those, I prefer an IDE
Gotcha.
because they have a lot of built-in language support that's not available in VS Code.
Yes, I do have this one. This is the right one.
You try open recent if it's there, or you can add to folder to workspace. Let's see, constellation test. And okay. So what happens? You're saying you get an undefined error?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably still waking up.
It can take a little while to run these jest things.
Check something real quick.
Okay. And
We're not in the.
if you scroll up, what does it say? Operation not permitted, rename.
Oh, I'm
Interesting.
in SQL Server.
Oh, got it. Good catch. It is taking a while.
I think last time it would just time out. And so I think Josh is thinking that it might have something to do with how the form data was handled. And I was trying to remember where I was finding how Jest uses form data.
Okay, so we got some results. 2 passed, 1 failed. Okay. The one that failed, it says it failed at Jasmine async install.js. New user test line 6. Okay.
I think last time we talked, you were saying as far as like the, this might not be the correct, but like as far as the call stack is concerned, line 6 is the whole function of IT.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it's something within there.
Yeah, that's right. So it could be anywhere in here. Interesting. Failed at the test script. Is this on a different branch? Is this
Yes.
on? Okay, what?
It's on the new user branch.
Is it all uppercase? How do you spell new user?
I think I have it.
You do git branch. What does it say? Okay, thank you.
Or user test. That's what it is.
That's fine. Okay, so now I see that other file. Let me look at another working one next to it. So you're saying he thought it might have had to do with the form data. Main page. Options. Method equals post URI headers form data. So new user URL, where's that coming from?
Right here. I think line 4 is where it's
Oh,
defined. And that's a console. That's is that it's not global, is it? But it's not blocked. I think.
it's not what?
Is it? I'm trying to remember const because like let is just per block, but I thought const was a higher scope.
Oh,
I could be very, very wrong.
let is just like var,
Yeah.
and const is just a constant. It just means it's immutable. You can't change it. I think. Okay, so you guys set that variable there, and then got it. Okay, and then post to that. It's constant URL plus account / register. Test user $date.getTime @email.com. Okay, I'm just ready. Go ahead.
Sorry. Is form data, is that passed usually in the body? So would that need to be like it's not I'm not super familiar with how like an HTTP request or any kind of request like that is made. But does it have like a separate thing called form data, or would it be more considered in like the body?
Sorry, I was zoning out when you asked your question. Can you ask it again?
So I guess for here, is it possible that it's expecting like is form data, is that usually part of the body, or is it its own thing, like a header and the body?
It's separate. It's a
Okay.
separate field.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, do you get, if you scroll up, do you get a giant output message in your console? Yeah, see that? If you look at the top, see what it says is message 302.
Okay. Yeah.
So a 302, are you familiar with that status code?
I have seen, so 200 is okay, 300 is, I don't remember now.
A 302 is a redirect.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So
I
is it
wonder
saying,
why it's redirecting us.
wonder if this URL is, because is it, if this isn't exactly correct, is it, it's going to redirect it? And is that, is it saying like it can't follow the,
That's what I'm wondering, is if it's an incorrect URL or something of that nature, because it looks like it might be redirecting us to a different path for some reason. Status message found. Then why is it giving us 302? Multi-part form data. Because I know we've used Postman and had this work. /account/register. I get a 200. Same. Oh, you don't match. What? Password and confirmation password do not match is what I'm getting from Postman. That's a different thing. So what happens if it's correct and it matches? Then, do you give me a redirect? Again, and redirect. Dash quote quote error quote. Go to found. I wonder if there's any headers that would help, or let's see. Hmm. Well, this is quite an interesting error.
I've just been looking at to see if there's anything that it might be adding on to it, like it. I guess I might have already said it, but if there was just a character off or something, and it would just be handled by like the DNS, it would say here's like a character that's off, so we're going to redirect it to the kind of like a www dot going to just a regular thing without that. But like, I don't know if this is the correct way to do it, but it looks like it just goes straight there. So I console logged to make sure it was exactly what was coming out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So where did it popped out somewhere? It was up here somewhere. Yeah. There. Copied that straight there, and it goes straight.
Yeah, it seems like the URL is correct, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm. I wonder if it worked. Um, I wonder if this user exists now. If we try and log in with that user, I wonder if it. I'm going to try it.
Can you see the? I guess you can see the timestamp. Okay.
Did you? Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Yep, it worked.
Hmm.
So it must be just trying to, I wonder if I do a sign up, if I create a user, and if I watch the network tab, I bet you it is doing a redirect in the UI. Test 1, 2, 3, 4 at test.com. We're going to charm. Okay, if I create a new one. Yep, sure enough, I got a 302. I got that 302. I don't know why Postman isn't seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's normal. It redirects you to the home page as a logged in user. That's what it's trying to do.
Oh, okay.
So a 302 is fine. We just need to, there's a way you can set so that you can check the status code instead of it just explicit or implicitly throwing an error if it's not a 200, which is what it's doing now.
Okay.
So it's request promise native. Throw error on non 200 status codes. So there's options.simple. And if you set options.simple to false, then it won't do this anymore. You see how you have options equals is your object?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to put a field in there called simple. And then colon false. And then you want a comma there instead of a semicolon. And you don't have to have a comma, but it's just good practice. It should fix it. I've run into this before. I forgot about it.
Now that we've created a bunch of test users, is there a way that we can add to part of this script that it deletes those test users? So it's not filling up all of the.
Yeah, it would be nice to do that. I've
How about that?
I think right now there's not a method that we have quick access to delete a user. But let me think. If you log in, can you delete your own user? What happens there if I try and do that?
Yeah, let me do it for one of them.
It did?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we could just sign in with that same login and then.
Yeah, so if I go to edit profile, it edits the user, and if you click delete, it calls a method on that user. The thing that we don't know yet is the ID on the end of that URL. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I gotcha.
So we have to figure out a way to programmatically get that after we've created the user. Hmm. So I suppose if we did a login, let's see. So if I do a log out, if I do a login request, that's a form data again. So we could go to account login and do another form data post with the new username and password that we just created. And if we do that, what we get. I watch the network tab a lot. It's kind of a cheater way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 3,
Yeah, I
4.
don't think I've gotten to a point where I can understand as much as what's going on the network thing. I feel like I'm moving more towards the wanting to do more back end stuff, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that'll help on the back end, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So if someone says my website's slow or whatever, they're going to come to the back end person. And then you're going to go look at this and say, well, let's see what part is slow. What's taking the most time? What URL is it? And then
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been, there's like the web.dev or whatever Google puts on. They've had a lot of different things. And they're like, I think there's like web vitals and things like that that they're starting to push a little more about certain things that you do while the page loads and different metrics that they're starting to implement to show like here's really what's slowing down the page and what's I guess making it less of a I guess good user experience, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I like performance optimization. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Someone says something slow at work, my ears perk up and I say, what's slow? Tell me what is
What's
it?
going on? Let's look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
Sorry. I probably need to get back to work, I guess.
Yep, no problem. Good job today. You solved a major problem, 2 of them. So good
Like
work.
that. I watched as you solved it. I think was more like it, but
No, I think it was teamwork.
all right. Something like that. Thank you for taking your time, and
Of course.
we'll see if other people show up or watch it, or well, I guess yeah. If you wanted to put that on YouTube, that might be something that'd be useful to send to the group.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that today.
Okay. Sweet. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tyler. See you tomorrow.
We'll see you.
Bye.